So we're the Flourishing Foundation. We would like to toss out a provocative question to start. What might a life-giving economy look like, enabled by TAI and other transformative technologies? We would like to imagine a positive future where humans didn't get left behind, even if our bodies are heavily augmented, we've uploaded our brains and our jobs are taken care of and all that. What's the most essence of humanness that we want to hold on to? And that's a question that Andrew asked. And that really comes down to our connection to ourselves, to each other, and our planet. So the Flourishing Foundation exists to ensure that AI-enabled transformative technologies actually support human planet holistic well-being, which is actually a really difficult problem under today's systems. We want to do this by operationalizing existing research, all the good research that's already out there, produce new knowledge frameworks on AI for wellness, and to build a new innovation ecosystem through product innovation incubation to prove that it's possible. So the problem today, more concretely, many in the past few waves of technology, as we've seen, have brought us a lot of abundance of products and services that's increased our material wellness, but material abundance, but it hasn't really supported our well-being in very tangible ways. Mental health issues are up. Loneliness pandemic is real. We will all know the spiel. So deploying TAI into this ecosystem will likely exacerbate existing problems. That's a path we don't want to go down. Especially this week, Vision Pro came out. Neuralink is already implanting to our brains. We're going down a very interesting path here. We don't want neuromarketing being the predominant usage of this technology. We need to better define and measure wellness. That's one big problem, which means we need alternative success metrics other than GDP at a country level and engagement at a product and service level. We also need new innovation infrastructure to encourage and incubate projects that are really truly innovator-led and community-led. That means alternative structures to academic and industry venture creation engines, which currently are pretty broken. So some positive success futures.
Yeah, I just want to throw out a few ideas here for like, what happens if this succeeds? Like, what can we imagine? So imagine a world where all of the AI tools are really supporting us to understand and develop what is like truly meaningful to us. All technology and all products come with some label or like metric that allows you to actually choose into like, is this good for me? And like, it's really clear how these AI models are affecting our well-being, and we're like in a position of agency around choosing that.
And maybe something along the lines of how addictive a product is as you're buying it. So institution structure, we are thinking of something along the lines of a research institute attached to a venture studio. They could be two different entities or the same. And our inspirations are things like focused research organizations, early stage fellowships, and Carnegie Foundation for Advancement of Teaching, somewhere I worked at, and also the well-being index, which you'll speak a little bit more about.
Yep, so a parallel I'd like to draw here is the well-being index, which is a proposed sort of metric to measure societal progress instead of GDP, where GDP essentially optimizes very narrowly for economic indicators. The well-being index looks at things like economic opportunity, sustainability, well-being, that kind of thing, to provide a different metric for measuring societal progress. And this is really useful for policymakers, for example, because it provides a more holistic and a more sort of live way of tracking how to design interventions that actually support what it is we care about when we're talking about well-being and development.
Great.
So I'll speak briefly to, I think there are three like key levers for how to do this. So the first one is what we're prototyping, so we'll get to that very shortly. But it's how do we basically create a certification around how products affect your well-being to incentivize like actually developing in that direction. The second is there's still a lot of really important research that needs to be done. Well-being is super complex. People have not really thought about well-being in the context of AI. And so developing better metrics in the context of AI is important. And then incubator for developing new products.
Just a 1 minute warning.
Okay, we'll skip this stuff. There's a couple of risks and failures that we can go into later, but like good hearting and incentives that we have ways to address.
Yeah, okay.
The last part is just a super quick prototype that we kind of hacked together in an hour. So we're going to compare two different AI chatbot products. So you're probably familiar with Replica. Maybe you're not as familiar with Uper. So one is an AI girlfriend and one is an AI therapist. And then we're going to compare your AI girlfriend and your AI therapist in terms of which one is better for your well-being, as measured according to the UK's well-being dashboard. And I'm going to use our methodology here is we're going to scrape a number of Reddit articles discussing the user's experiences on Reddit. And then we're going to feed this into Claude. And we're going to ask Claude to turn those experiences into ratings taken from UK's well-being dashboard here. And then, again, this is like a super quick thing. But we can already see that therapist is better than a girlfriend.
So timeline-wise, we're hoping to launch an incubator in the Q2 this year. This actually, at this point, we should mention this is actually a live project. We're just supporting this with bare hands, so any form of help would be really helpful. We're in a basement in Hayes Valley. Anyway, so launch the incubator to support innovators to continue to build, which we started with end of last year. We had a large build day with 55 people showed up, and we would like to launch a certification sometime this year or next year, and then also start to develop the research institute to do more research on well-being and AI.
And just to add quickly, once you start having metrics, there's so much you can build on top of that. Like you can start regulating around these metrics. You can start building them into AI models with some of the like RLHF constitutional AI systems and all that kind of stuff. So like the key piece being like develop the metrics and figure that out, and then you can like do a lot of really great stuff on top of that.
Amazing. And there's my theory on how we can, build a possible life-giving economy that's not extractionary, but we don't have time to go into that. So let's flourish. That's it.
Do you have an intuition as to whether firms that embrace human wellness and flourishing will outcompete firms that do not? What and why or why not?
It's a span of time. We think that I'm going to borrow this line from VentureWell. We think that there's a class of unbuilt innovations that will be more sustainable and more life-giving in the long run. And right now we're struggling with the short time attention span of the current venture creation system. And we think that's the case. It's simply because life-giving things will, but humans, we tend towards healing. Our psyches tend towards healing our bodies, right? So we know what's good for us. And so the human intuition, and there's also a lot of data to show this. So yes, things that support wellness in the long run will win out over products that are distracting your attention in the short run. Does that answer your question? Not quite, but there's more to it. There's a lot of nuances.
Just to add a really quick point to that, I think a big part of this is movement building around like a lot of this stuff comes from consumer driven, like people demanding this. And so the more you can get people being like, we could have something better, like actually our existing incentives and products are really awful, the better. And then that will cause them to outcompete.
Yeah, we're already seeing that with Gen Z and demanding sustainable products being sustainably made. So it's possible.
Just a thought, can you imagine a scenario where this could be useful somehow in AI alignment?
Yeah, I think this is like a really crucial piece of it in terms of you have to be eliciting from everyone, like what is it actually that we want AI to be aligning to? And like there's like centering well-being at the core of that feels really important. And so like some of the like AI alignment methods like constitutional AI, we're thinking about lots of different like principles that we could be using as that constitution. And it's like, well, we should be grounding that in like what is core to humanity and like well-being principles. I think that perspective actually really needs to come into the alignment world.
I haven't been hearing it.
Yeah, and we need to sit down and be able to center ourselves to know what we want in order to work with AI to figure out what to implement, right? So that's the first step. Yeah.
Any other from the judges?
Maybe a quick one. So this is obviously part of the research you're proposing to do, but do you think there is such a thing as a universal flourishing wellness index, or is that going to be highly individual?
It has to be dynamic. That's why we want it to be grassroots rather than top-down, and by gathering people's preferences and how their experience with wellness is very personal. Yeah, that's right.
This is like such a complex topic. Like there's all this philosophy of well-being, like psychology of well-being, and there's no consensus. And so I think actually the right approach is to have like a sort of moral uncertainty approach in terms of like taking from many different frameworks. And also like we don't understand what technology is going to look like in 10 years. And so you can't fix in values or fix in like what well-being is. And so like you need to be able to like iterate it and also like be morally uncertain across like what well-being actually fundamentally is.
It has to be embodied, and we have bodies that AI don't. So we have to be doing that research ourselves. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.